And we still have Rudy. So I hope you all have a good time this morning, and hopefully you have something to take away and also inspire each and every one of you to start your social media journey. So let's start the discussion. I think we'll contain this in around 20 minutes, okay? And then we can have lunch. Okay, thank you.
All right, so how do we start? Where do we start with?
Tweeting with each other first.
All right. So everybody at this point, send me a tweet and tell us what you want us to talk about. And we'll try and get to some of those things. Who here doesn't know how to send a tweet? Be honest. Come on, put your hand up. No, really? Is there anybody here who's not on Twitter? One in the back there. Okay, Kelly, look at somebody beside you and ask her how to do it. Get your smartphone out. We're going to talk about influence then, right? Rudy, you said, actually, you asked. Let's start with you just a little bit. Something we talked a bit about earlier. We all have blogs, right? We all have personal blogs. And something you said earlier, I think you said actually about everybody sort of needs a blog. Do you agree? Is that sort of fundamental first step for sort of building your online presence?
My blog.
Do you think everybody here should have a blog?
Yes, I think everybody should have a blog. If you like to write, if you like to share anything to your friends, it's so much easier. You don't need to meet them one by one. Just ask them to go to your blog and look at the photos. For my case, okay, it's travel blog. Yeah.
Now, we live in a social media age, though. Rudy, do you think why have a blog? Why can't I just use Facebook instead?
Facebook is very bad in archive the old content. If you have a blog, you have some opinions or good content to share, it will be easier to be found again on search.
Well, and that's the key word, right?
Yes.
It's just about search, right?
Yes.
So when we search, when we get our names searched,
yes,
of those pages of stuff that shows up, how high does your blog show up in the search results?
All the time on the top. Yeah.
And so who here when they do Google search looks past the first page? Oh yeah, you guys are keeners. Okay, who looks past the second page? Yeah, it gets pretty thin after that, doesn't it? But you were saying earlier, how many pages, if you Google yourself, how many pages of you is there? More than 10?
More than 10.
Have you Googled yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah, and does your blog show up pretty high?
Yeah, especially like travel related.
Actually, my ex-company, which is working for Hong Kong Disneyland, we did a local research by ourselves. So the tool is simple. We just use Google. So we search Google travel blogger Singapore. Then we found her and invited her to Hong Kong Disneyland because she has a very good blog. We didn't know that she is that famous. But now I realize that she's that famous. It's an award-winning blogger. But we simply just found her through search.
And this is my point that I'm trying to make with this is, if you want to be seen as an influencer, by building yourself a blog, and even if it can be about whatever interesting things that you're interested in, it will show up in the search. And we've got to fill that, at least that first page, if not maybe the first 2 pages of Google search results, with stuff that we have some control over. You have complete control over your blog. You can decide what content you want to put up there. You can make yourself look really good. You can demonstrate authority and expertise in various things. What are some of the other things that show up in your Google search results? Do we have control over Facebook? To some degree, right?
A lot of articles from Marketing Interactive. Some articles I wrote for Flexi as well. They're very text-based website that people actively look for topics that they are interested in.
Right, so some of it's content that you've written. Is it the same for you guys? What do you find when we search you? What are the top search results for you?
My top searches, in fact, one of them is Doraemon, even though it's not.
But if we type your name in, what do we get? Do you know?
If you tag my name, you see a lot of my blog, you see my Facebook, LinkedIn.
So we're all getting sort of the same sort of results when we search for ourselves. Those top things, your blog, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter accounts, maybe articles that you've written that have been published in other media, those are the sort of things that show up when people Google you. And I promise you, everybody here, for your next job, your next big business deal, your next interview with a media outlet, they will Google you before they meet you. So why take a chance on what shows up? Do everything you can to make your online presence as big and as well manicured as you possibly can, the best version of yourself. So when you get searched, that's what shows up. That's your online presence.
And also for the brands, for the marketers as well.
How so?
How often do you search your company's names to see what happened, to see what people are talking about your company, or to see if your official content is on the first page? Have you heard of this Dell thing that happened before? That a very nasty complaint about Dell computer. It ended up a bunch of people who hate Dell put a name called Dell Hell as a blog. A lot of people who has complained, they put all the comments there. Then that period of time when people search Dell Hell is also on the first page. But there's an end of story, because after that event, Dell has done a very good job to invent the website and also a company blog to make it more visible, to let people hear their voice.
Well, and I talk with brands a lot. If you have had such bad service and have done such a poor job with your business that you've pissed off so many customers that they're willing to go out and create so much stuff against your company online, then it's not really a matter of you going and trying to fix things online. You need to go and fix things in your business.
Yeah.
That's where the real problem is.
Both ways. I think.
But what about for creating talent within a company, right? For a lot of people here, they work for somebody else. Do you think that they should try and be celebrities within their own company?
You mean the marketers?
Yeah. So say you're the head of marketing. Should somebody like Karen, who's a great example, she's become a bit of a celebrity in the social media circles around town. Yeah. Is she a good role model for other brands? Don't say no. She's taking us to lunch.
Definitely, but I think the involvement is more important than whether you become a celebrity or But you make your hands dirty and try things first before you appoint an agency. Remember the first time we met, I sort of turned her down because I told her that you guys should start on your own first because they have such a good team. They should start to learn by themselves first before they appoint an agency. Because it's more important because agency is also actually learning at the same time. Social media, things are moving so fast. Every other day has something new.
I agree. Now, to go to you on this one, you are self-taught, right? Like nobody taught you how to blog. You figured it out all by yourself, right? What's that learning process like? Do you think it's really hard and only certain people can do it, or is it something that everybody should learn how to do?
The initial effort was pretty hard because I need to put in effort to learn a bit of blog design and a bit of SEO so that my articles can be easily searched on the internet. And photo editing, you see I have a lot of photos on my blog. Learn a bit of photography skill. Yeah, basically.
So have you learned how to do a bit of coding? Like can you adjust CSS style sheets to make your blog look different and things like that?
Those difficult stuff I'll leave it to my husband because he's a techie. And for me, I learned a bit of HTML. I think HTML can help a lot.
So I know there's some bloggers here, people like Jasmine. Show of hands from the bloggers if writing a blog also led to you learning how to code. Yeah. It's sort of a natural progression, but it's not hard, right? Anybody can do it.
It's not hard. You don't need to have a degree in computer science to do that.
It's a bit like cooking, right? Like you know, if you start cooking, you start getting better at chopping things, and then before you know it, you're doing all sorts of fancy stuff in the kitchen that you never thought you'd be capable of doing.
And you don't have to be a web designer to design your own blog. It's very easy.
And so I guess the point we're trying to make here is that if at this point you're not yet setting up your own blog, that it's a fundamental building block in your online presence, in what's going to be your online influence. It's going to affect your influence score, how you're searched, how you're perceived, and that it's available for everybody. There's free platforms right now that you can start with. As you mature, you'll move off the free platforms, you'll start self-hosting, you'll get tired of the default themes, you'll start coming up with your own designs, you'll start coding a bit more as you sort of just develop the skills. But it's a lot like cooking. You need to get out there, you need to get into the kitchen. But obviously there's something more to that. You don't start winning blogging awards, I mean, that easily. I've had a blog for years, not one blogging award. How do we get that sort of social proof? How do we get that sort of recognition? What sort of things did you do to win these awards?
Okay, I think content is very important. So I put in a lot of effort on creating quality content to make sure that it's worth your time reading it. And when I joined the first contest, I did rally for votes. I make a lot of online friends. Of course, people have to like my blog, then they vote for me. I can't just pay someone to vote for me. So I did a lot of great effort and some hard work.
So the first bit was to build up a community of people, of fans who were liking your blog. And you'd have a lot of readers coming by every day. Were they leaving comments and talking to you? Were you getting to know a lot of people through your blog?
Yeah, I have readers from all over the world. Also thanks to Google Translator. So I treat my online friends like real friends. Of course, not everyone, but most of them. I think friends. For online relationship, you have to treat them like real people. So that is the way to socialize.
And then once you've got all these online friends, then if you enter a contest that requires votes, it becomes a lot easier to win suddenly, doesn't it?
Yeah, actually, sometimes I feel a bit embarrassed to ask them to keep voting for me. It's like self-reflection. Yeah, so nowadays I try not to join so many contests to ask for voters.
But I think I've often felt that sort of embarrassment about asking for people to vote for things. And often if I do ask for it, I ask for it not from everybody, but I take very small subsets of friends who I know I can ask a favor of. And I talk about this in my book, discussing about social capital, and I mentioned it earlier. You give a tremendous amount of value to everybody. Every time you write up a travel destination, every time you put a blog post up there, you're giving something to a community. And you're asking for nothing back from them. They already feel an imbalance. They feel this like, gosh, you've given me so much and never asked for anything. And then I think it's completely fair once in a while to sort of turn around and say, oh, well, if you guys kind of like my blog, would you mind voting? And you, surprise, surprise, get a huge amount of response, right?
I think when you start a blog, you have to give first. You don't think of what it can gain.
Yeah, I often talk about